Hello and welcome to Conan Exiles, an open world sandbox survival game where you can write your own story with your character. There is a storyline to the game that you can follow if you so wish to actually complete the game, but there's so many different ways that you can play and so many things that you can do that it's really not worth actually completing the game, because you do actually lose everything and would have to start from scratch again. However, if you don't complete all the things involved to complete the game, then you can have multiple different characters and try and play the game multiple different ways and learn all sorts, because there is so much to learn. So in this little video, this is for beginners, and this is my top 5 tips and tricks for beginners, just to kind of help you get a good start and an idea of what the game is all about and things to do early game. Do keep an eye out in the future, because there may be other videos like this that will be some more tricks and tips for mid to late game, but for now this is something for the very beginning. So I hope you found these helpful, hope you found these useful. If you do me a big favour, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't so you don't miss any future content, leave your questions and comments in the comment section down below. So here we go with tip number 1. Okay then, so here we go with tip number 1, and tip number 1 is you've landed in on the map. When you've created your character, you've spawned in, but you've no clue where you are. So the first little thing to do is, especially if you're on PS4 or PS5, you press your right arrow on your D-pad. This will bring up your map, and what you ideally want to do is have a look for if you spawned anywhere along here. There are various spawn points, 5 or 6 spawn points all along the bottom here. So if you establish where you are, as you follow your journey steps along here and as you progress down towards New River, you want to head for this little location here, because there is an NPC that you can talk to. These are known as the Sentinels. There is an NPC there that you can speak to that will kind of introduce you to things a little bit and also teach you an emote. And then there are other bits and pieces that you can do once down on the river also. So that is tip number 1. So we've been making our way down gradually. We're following the map up towards the river, or New River as it's called, and as you're going along, your journey steps are telling you to gather branches, and you can do this obviously by interacting with them. As you can see, you get 1, or if you have your harvest set on ×2, if you're on single player you would get 2. But another neat little trick that quite a few other people have shown off as well, including Angar, who is another fantastic YouTuber. Do go check him out as well. He also streams on a Sunday evening at 8 PM UK time. Do check him out as well. As I say, another awesome creator. He learnt this little trick a while ago as well. But if you take your hatchet, so at this stage would be a stone hatchet, and walk up to a branch, and if you hit the branch with your hatchet, as you can see on the right hand side there, you get a lot more than what you did when you were just picking them up by hand. So again, multiple amounts rather than just 1 or 2. So if you need multiple branches, because you need 5 at first to craft a weapon or a tool, so instead of picking them up by hand, hit them with your hatchet, and as you'll see in your inventory there, you have a lot more than what you had when you first started. So now tip number 3 is a bit of a different one, but once you've now made it down to the river but you've not learnt sort of how to actually build properly or gathered enough resources to build yourself a little base or anything just as yet, but there is a mechanic in the game that you need to be aware of that starts over here and it blows all the way down across to here, all along the river and over here, known as the sandstorm mechanic. And if you are out in this, you can take health damage, and if you're in it too much it can eventually kill you. You can heal through it and hide in little spots if you're lucky, but it's very, very tricky. Your best bet is to try and hide from it. Now there are a couple of ways you can hide. Unfortunately this is bugged at the moment where the 2 statues are missing, but they should be there. But you'll find where your little NPC friend is that you've come to speak to, which is this guy here.
I can smell it on you. Veterans tend to smell just a little more like despair. I'm Arcos. Once a sailor, now a wanderer.
Now I'm not going to finish up talking to him.
You should go up north. There's whole cities of exiles up there.
I won't continue the story with him, I'll let you explore that when you join the game. But he is here, right at the base of this statue, and if you were to crouch under here, and then if I come out of this mode a minute, as you will see, top left there I have a little buff appeared that says sheltered. If you were to hide under here, this will actually help you hide from the sandstorm. These guys are friendly, so don't worry about these. But that's one thing you can do. Or if you're at the stage where you've unlocked your build knowledge and your journey steps, which is this one here, and you've gathered a decent amount of stone with a pick and used your hatchet to chop down some trees and gathered some wood, you can build yourself a little storm shelter, which is purely a foundation, 3 walls, a ceiling piece, a door frame and a door. So as I say, all you would need for that is a little bit of stone, a little bit of wood, and then some twine for your door. And once again, if we jump in here, as you can see, we have the sheltered buff once again. So if a sandstorm appears, if you've got one of these down, just stand inside this until the sandstorm passes, and because you're sheltered you won't take any damage from the sandstorm, and you will be perfectly safe to carry on farming your resources or whatever you're doing, ready to build your first little hut. Right, so this next tip revolves around combat and learning your early basics of combat, because you could be using, for example, as I have here, some stone daggers, which as you can see do very minimal damage and no armor penetration, so you're going to have to be very, very careful with these. The little trick and tip for this one is to not get too carried away with combat, and if you spot enemies like this and just think, oh, this is a regular crocodile, this will be an easy fight. These guys do actually bite pretty hard. They don't have a lot of health, but early game, when you've no attribute points in, you're going to do very, very little damage, and their snap will hurt. So what you want to do, if I just remove my cloak a second but stay in God mode, just so he doesn't kill me, he will do a snap like that. He'll chase you. If he chases you, you'll notice they keep doing a lunge. So the little trick with these guys with crocodiles is just, rather than fight them straight away, maybe have a little sneaky jab, move away, and just learn their mechanic of how they attack. So as you can see, these guys will chase you, they'll snap at you. So just wait for the lunge, keep your stamina up, wait for him to do his lunge, you get a couple of sneaky hits in, let him lunge again, you get a couple of hits in again. I'm not going to wait to actually kill this guy, but you get the gist of what's happening there. Don't get too carried away like that, because they can get a lunge attack in, but just wait for them to do that. Then you attack, and they will get a bleed on them eventually, so that's pretty much how you want to avoid them. It's just pretty much watch what you're doing there with them. Whoops, I pressed the wrong button there, but if I go into creative, as you'll see, he'll de-aggro. But you can use the lock on or not, but little tip there for combat is don't rush straight into any sort of fights. Learn the mechanic of the different enemies, learn their attack patterns, because all enemies attack differently. So that's the crocodiles. And then if we go over here, as I say, the shaleback, as these guys are called, are passive at first. There are some that are red on their back and they are aggressive, and those ones will hiss at you and attack you straight away. But if I come out of cloak, as you'll see, these guys don't attack me straight away. However, if I provoke one of them, he should now get aggroed by that. I'm still in creative, so it's not working. Let me come out of that. If I was to hit that guy, he should now be attacking me. Still cloaked, that's right. There we go. So if you are using the admin, just make sure you're not cloaked. And as you'll see, I've hit him now. He'll now do a stomp, and he'll come up to me, and he'll slap me. So I can back off again. He'll try and hit with the other hand. Fairly basic, the attacks that these guys do. They'll just keep swiping at you with their hand. So they'll do a hiss like that as well. Just keep dodging back. Get a cheeky hit in, move back again. Just keep dodging them, because they will just swipe at you like that. especially if you get a couple on you, just be careful. Just roll around, they'll do an overhead attack like that as well. These guys will take bleed, so not too difficult, and you can finish them off like that. And it's just you one-on-one with one of them. But the other key thing when attacking is keep an eye on that yellow stamina bar at the top, because what you don't want to do is also do too many attacks and end up burning through your stamina bar. Potentially you will gain a level there while doing, just as we did. So you can then go along to your attributes and add a point in. Personally, I would focus on a little bit of vitality at first, and maybe your grit for your encumbrance so that you can carry more resources while you're building, and then look at speccing into some sort of a fighting combat build later on. So the final tip in this one, number 5, is kind of looking at our map again, and it's kind of a twofold tip really, and a bit because it's a bit of advice as well. The advice really is just when you're loading, enjoy the game obviously, just please don't be too tempted to just jump straight over the river and run up here, because these enemies, as you start getting higher up in the map and over to the left and over to the far right, and certainly even further up north in the Highlands here, they do hit a heck of a lot harder and you will die a lot more, and you'll do a lot less damage, because if you're doing bare minimal damage to enemies on Noob River, which are the easiest enemies in the game, you'll have no chance against anything further up, especially once you start encountering 1 skull bosses and even 3 skull bosses. So the little tip really here is just to take your time, stick on the river, or Noob River as veteran players call it, from sort of this area around about here, all around here. Be mindful of this big camp at the end, because you can get overwhelmed easy. It's not too difficult once you've got a decent-ish weapon and armour, but be careful of that end. But wander up and down the river here, there are 1 or 2 1 skull people that you can kill to get armour for, or you can eventually knock them out as you progress a little bit more and turn them into one of your friends to help you tame other friends, or to kill enemies. As you're leveling up, you can level them up as well. We'll discuss that in a future video. But the main thing, as I say, is to just enjoy the game, but learn your surroundings where you are now, get yourself leveled up, get yourself some decent armour, some decent weapons, build yourself a little starter base somewhere just around here, nothing fancy, just enough to put a few of your crafting stations in and store some loot and put a bed in, so that you can take a bedroll out with you. So if you do die, you've got a couple of spawn locations, so as soon as you've built your little storm shelter, pop your bedroll in there as well, so that you've also got that if you did die at least, you'll spawn here and not back out at the very start down here with nothing left. So there we are then everybody, that is just about it. Hope you found those useful, hope you found those interesting. Lots and lots to explore and learn about this game, including brand new features that have just recently come out. So hope you found them interesting, hope you found them useful. As I say, if you do, let me know down below, and until I see you in a future live stream or the next video, it's bye bye for now.